Since the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about the dying NBA and the legacy of LeBron James, which continues to get tarnished with each NBA Finals game that none of you guys are watching, I'm going to continue to talk about it right here on this channel. I have been talking for weeks now about how the legacy of LeBron James is being ruined. It's ruined because he is going to be the first superstar NBA player, the first face of the NBA, that is going to leave the league in worse shape than it was in when he entered back in 2003. And that's really saying a lot because the NBA was in the tank in 2003 when LeBron was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Back then, we didn't think it could get any worse for the NBA. Oh, how we were wrong. Clay Travis and Jason Whitlock over at Outkick, a few other YouTubers, we're the only personalities that are talking about the dying NBA. I was actually pleasantly surprised the other day because Jason Whitlock wrote an article outlining why LeBron James cannot be in the GOAT conversation because he is ruining the NBA. Finally, someone else besides me is calling attention to the fact that LeBron is ruining his legacy while ruining the league. I believe we're in the midst of a seismic shift right now, not only in the NBA, but with the sports media as well. And not just sports media, the mainstream media as a whole. The media's influence is diminishing at a rapid rate. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of you guys are fed up with the media and their garbage. They're lying. They're covering up the decline of the NBA. Why are they doing this? Why are they covering for the NBA? Because ESPN and Fox Sports 1, they're woke, guys. I mean, didn't you know? Most of you didn't know because most of you aren't watching either one of those channels. Since its inception, Fox Sports 1 has been a ratings disaster. They are paying Skip Bayless $6 million a year to draw in 100,000, 200,000 viewers. There are sports-related YouTube channels with a larger audience. Earlier this summer, ESPN hit a 41-year ratings low. Stephen A. Smith, Captain Woke, he's being paid $8 million a year to tank ESPN's ratings. And don't even get me started on Max Kellerman, who wants to be accepted by the urban demographic so bad. The problem is, Max Kellerman is a square white dude from New York City. Ratings for ESPN debate shows that are NBA-centric, they're at all-time lows. Basically, anything related to the NBA is suffering massive declines right now. In the span of about 16 months, LeBron James has transformed the NBA into the least popular sports league in America. Let me just give you guys some perspective, in case you've never kept up with ratings for the NBA Finals in the past. Normally, in normal times, the NBA Finals, they average anywhere from 15 to 20 million viewers a game. Last year, the finals between the Warriors and the Raptors, people were making a big deal about how low the ratings were for that series. That 6-game series averaged 17.6 million viewers a game. It was really saved by games 5 and 6 because the middle of that series, they were averaging around 13 million viewers. One of the lowest rated NBA Finals in history was Spurs-Cavs back in 2007, which is kind of ironic. LeBron James is supposedly the biggest draw in the NBA, yet his first title chase was barely a blip on the national radar. The series went 5 games. Not one game drew 10 million people. The series averaged 9.29 million viewers. It was worse than the 2003 finals between the Spurs and the Nets, which at the time was the lowest rated in NBA history. People who like to include LeBron in the GOAT conversation, they always talk about all the NBA records that LeBron holds. Well, he's about to set another NBA record. I told you guys before the finals began that this would be the least watched NBA finals in the history of the NBA. It turns out I was right. The 2020 NBA finals have been a disaster. The 3 least watched NBA finals games in the history of the NBA were games 1, 2, and 3 of this year's NBA finals. Game 1, 7.41 million. Game 2, 6.07 million. Game 3, 4.08 million. I don't ever remember people being this uninterested in Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan was one of the most boring NBA superstars. More people were interested in watching him chase titles than they are right now with LeBron James. And it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse. The ratings hadn't been released for Game 4 at the time that I'm making this video. Only the preliminary numbers had been released. But Game 5 on Friday night, I'll go ahead and tell you guys right now. Game 5 is going to be the lowest rated NBA Finals game in the history of the NBA. I can tell you that with supreme confidence because I know that America has turned their back on LeBron James. People are purposefully tuning out to send a message. But you're not going to hear about any of this in the sports media. Actually, it's quite the opposite. The sports media is too busy making excuses for the low NBA ratings, if they're even talking about it at all. You won't hear about the declining NBA ratings on ESPN or Fox Sports 1. They're too busy giving you analysis on the games that you're not watching. You guys aren't watching ESPN or Fox Sports 1 anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. That's why I haven't made an analysis video on the NBA playoffs in the last 2 or 3 weeks. You guys aren't watching it. The last couple of videos I made, my views were low. People were telling me in the comment section that they just didn't care. They weren't watching. So I stopped wasting my time analyzing the NBA. Instead, I started analyzing the record low ratings. Jimmy Traina, I hope I pronounced his name right. Jimmy Traina is a writer for Sports Illustrated, and he magnificently illustrated the problem with sports media in 2020. He wrote an entire article making excuses for the low ratings for the NBA Finals. Game 2 took place on a Friday night. That's why the ratings were so low. The NBA never plays finals games on a Friday night. Well, first of all, the NBA set the schedule. So if they didn't want to play on a Friday night, they didn't have to. The reason that Adam Silver scheduled 2 Friday night games in the NBA Finals is because he knew the NBA would have little to no competition on that night. They wouldn't be competing with the NFL, wouldn't be competing with college football. Plus, people would be off work for the weekend and could stay up late to watch the game. See, Adam Silver and the NBA were under this assumption that since bars and restaurants are still closed in some cities, that the people forced to be at home by their communist mayors or their communist governors, but people forced to be at home would tune into the NBA to be entertained. They didn't account for the fact that most people are so turned off by the NBA right now that it doesn't matter what day of the week they're playing. People are not going to watch. I wish the NBA were being played in home arenas right now. I believe the arenas would be damn near empty because that would finally get the attention of Adam Silver and possibly LeBron James. But their attention will be caught soon enough when players' salaries decrease dramatically next season. This is another reason that I feel like what LeBron James is doing with this whole social justice narrative is so selfish, so self-serving. He has already made his money. He has made his hundreds of millions of dollars. He is set for life. The players that are going to be affected by the woke NBA are the guys that are yet to enter the league, or guys like Anthony Davis, who is eligible this offseason for the biggest contract of his career, at a time when league revenues are in the tank. It's not just LeBron James and Adam Silver that are shouldering the blame for the woke NBA. Mark Cuban, a guy that I have a lot of respect for, he is also to blame for the NBA being woke. He was lured into another Twitter war this week with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz has been trolling Mark Cuban for a while now, and it's been working. Cruz has repeatedly asked Mark Cuban about the whole NBA China ordeal. You know, how Mark Cuban and the NBA are supposedly woke because they're standing up for human rights here in America, yet they take billions of dollars from the Chinese government, the worst human rights violators on the planet. Naturally, Mark Cuban comes away looking like a complete fool, and the definition of hypocrisy, because he refuses to answer Ted Cruz's questions on China. He just dodges it every time it comes up. And Ted Cruz, he comes away looking like a hero to his base. Why? Because Ted Cruz is a politician. He's not running a business. It doesn't matter if he pisses off a bunch of Democrats on Twitter with a beef with Mark Cuban. They're not going to vote for him anyway. But Mark Cuban, he relies on Republican money. He relies on people from both sides of the political aisle to buy tickets to see the Mavericks play. Which leads me to the same point that I have hammered the last 3 months. This is why sports and politics do not mix. You can't win. You can't beat a politician in a political war. Mark Cuban can never win a Twitter war with Ted Cruz when it comes down to politics, because politics are designed to be divisive. They are designed to keep people arguing. That's how politicians keep their power. They keep the population divided. That strategy does not work when you run a business or an NBA franchise. Mark Cuban needs fans of the Dallas Mavericks. He needs them united around the team. Fans of the Dallas Mavericks, they don't give a damn about the politics of Mark Cuban. All they care about is the product on the basketball court, a winning team. And have you guys noticed lately how silent the NFL has been when it comes to politics and social justice? Going into the NFL season, the league looked to be just as woke as the NBA. We got 2 national anthems in week 1. We had the ridiculous political messages in the end zone and on the back of the players' helmets. We had the public service announcements that they were running on social justice and racial equality and all kind of other crap. But since week 1, we have heard basically nothing from the NFL or its players on social justice politics. Why do you think that is? Well, I think Roger Goodell actually listened to the pushback that he received from his fan base after week 1. I think he saw the huge ratings decline, and he decided that it was best for the NFL not to follow the NBA off the social justice cliff. Smart decision if that was the case. Whether you like him or you hate him, you got to know that in the NFL, Roger Goodell is calling the shots. Roger Goodell is making the final decisions. Now, who's making the decisions in the NBA? Is it LeBron James? Or is it Adam Silver, the guy who's supposed to be making the decisions? Therein lies the problem. Adam Silver is a weak commissioner. Do you think that David Stern would have allowed LeBron James to drag the NBA into social justice politics? Do you think David Stern would have given the players all the power in the NBA? I think Adam Silver could eventually lose his job over this, because I can't see the NBA getting better anytime soon. I mentioned the Game 4 preliminary ratings earlier. The media was hyping a big bump in the Game 4 ratings for the NBA. It was watched by, presumably, 5.5 million people. That is a big bump. That's less viewers than watched last week's Thursday night football game between the Broncos and the Jets. But what's going to happen? Players are going to start complaining about decreased salaries because it's coming. They are going to have to take some pay cuts. Broadcast networks, they're going to start complaining about the sagging ratings. Now, who is going to be the fall guy? It's not going to be LeBron James. It's going to be Adam Silver. David Stern has got to be rolling over in his grave right now. When he took over the NBA, playoff games and the NBA Finals, they were airing on television on tape delay. He took that, where the league was, and transformed the NBA into an international league. And within 12 months, Adam Silver has allowed LeBron James to essentially destroy 30 years of work. Oh, but don't worry. The NBA is real popular on social media. You know, where it counts. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Will Game 5 of the NBA Finals be the lowest viewed finals game in NBA history? What is it going to take for you guys to start watching the NBA again? And has LeBron James ruined his legacy? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you have any questions, a topic you would like me to discuss, you can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.